Comes in, easy breezy.
As I said a few moments ago, these cattle lead a very natural lifestyle. They live on green pastures, and during the winter time when it's too cold for them, they come inside to these lovely sheds. These sheds are really well kept and they're only inside for a couple of months. The rest of the year, they get the sun on their back and the beautiful Scottish air in their lungs. So usually they have fantastic feet and they only need a small amount of work to make sure that they stay in tip-top condition. However, things do happen from time to time. Just like humans, cows have accidents, and these accidents need to be addressed. That's where I come in. The role of hoof trimmers is to make sure that we keep cows' feet in tip-top condition and make sure that they are as comfortable as possible. Take this foot for instance, it just needs a small rebalance, and to make sure that slight little indentation there comes to no great problem. As it is, all she needs is the weight taken off that area and a small amount of iodine to dry up the thin horn covering that area, and she'll be good to go. However, as you're just about to see, that is not always the extent of the problems that these cows can have. You'll notice that I don't polish this cow's foot. When I say polish, I mean I don't go into the absolute finite details that we do with dairy cattle, and that's because they're living outside, and these little tiny margins will not make much difference to her whatsoever. It's more important just to give her those little tweaks to make sure that she stays as comfortable as possible for as long as we possibly can. The farmer tells me the front left foot on this cow is showing signs of lameness. Now the strange thing is, cows, because they're herding animals, actually hide lameness. They do everything they can to mask it, because lameness is a sign of weakness, and we all know what happens to the weak members of the herd in the wild. They become prey. So this cow is invested in making sure that she masks the lameness as much as she possibly can. However, things have gotten top of her, and it's gone too far. So here we are, with her in the crush, about to make her a whole lot more comfortable. As we can all see, this cow's feet are not particularly overgrown. This isn't something that could have been picked up on months ago and healed more quickly. It's just simply not the case. Her heel has been eaten away by digital dermatitis, which has then gone underneath the sole and started to eat away at the corium. Right now I'm pulling out that dirt so that I know how far I can go with the grinder. Using the grinder on cow's feet like this is really appropriate, because it means you can finish the trim much more quickly and therefore get the cow out of the crush. But we cannot get close enough with the grinder, and we need that visceral touch of the knife. So we continue to pare away until we find what's lurking beneath. As I scrape back that dirt from the corium, you can see digital dermatitis infecting the open lesion. And now we can all see those maggots which have infected, or rather infested, this cow's foot. Now some people will be watching this and just about to type that maggots can be a good thing and will eat away the rotten flesh, and that is absolutely correct. However, there is also a process called meiosis, and that is when maggots continue to eat good flesh. And after all, if you had maggots in your foot, would you like me to remove them or just leave them where they are? I think we all know the answer to that. I continue to pare away at all of the disconnected hoof horn. If I left any of these cracks or this loose disconnected horn, dirt would regress and get stuck underneath the flaps, again making the perfect environment for maggots to infect. We need to make sure we get rid of every shred of sharp or disconnected horn if we ever want this lesion to completely heal. Just touching the corium leads it to bleed. But I've finished the trim, so we dress it with iodine and that will really help to clear up that digital dermatitis. But probably not sufficiently enough, so we add salicylic acid and a very loose wrap. I don't want James to have to get this cow back in just to pull the wrap off, so we aim for the wrap to fall off itself after 1 or 2 days. Then it's on with the back feet, and this is a really good example of how a cow's feet should shed. If you look around the outside edge, the wall horn, that part of the foot is the weight-bearing surface. It's the structure of the foot. It's where all of the integrity of the hoof capsule can be found. And that is why it has not shed away. If you look at the soles, they're lower down or higher up, depending on how you look at it, and that's because it's much easier to shed away. Again, all we do is rebalance these feet. We don't go to town on them, we don't go into the finite details, we just rebalance them and make the cow more comfortable. And this back left foot is exactly the same as the right, it just needs a bit of polishing. All things considered, I think this Limousin cow is walking particularly well, considering the problems she has with that front left foot. This next cow is a regular. She has had laminitis, and that is when the outside wall, or rather the connective tissues between the outside wall and the interior of the foot, stretch. They're inflamed, and that leads to huge overgrowth. This cow is trimmed twice a year, every year. We keep on top of it, and that helps to minimise the risk of her lameness. But as you'll see, it is a fairly graphic foot. Graphic in the sense of it's very overgrown, but it is being managed successfully by this farmer. The purple and red patches you can see on the outer claw are bruising or hemorrhaging because this outside claw is overloaded with weight. It's supposed to have 50% of the weight, but as you can see it's substantially bigger than that inner claw, so it has been carrying far too much weight. And that's what our job is. We're weight management technicians. We're trying to transfer a lot of the weight that that outside claw is bearing onto the inner claw and thereby stop that bruising materialising into a real lameness issue for this cow. This cow's back left foot was almost identical to her back right, and that's something you commonly find. Cows' feet mirror each other. If there's something wrong with the back right foot, a lot of the time the same problem is present in the back left, but to a differing degree. This little Angus did not have many problems whatsoever, so we whipped round all 4 of her feet before letting her get back to her friends in the pasture. Then we moved on to the problematic case. The steer, the stirk, the young bull, the bullock, whatever you want to call him. This guy presented us with an altogether different problem. As you can see, James and I try to work as calmly as possible with these cattle. They're scared of humans and they don't know we're trying to help. But they still are extremely flighty, and this little guy does not like being in my crush. My absolute priority is the safety of the cattle in my care when I'm trimming them. And as you can see, this little guy is really stressed out by all of these new happenings. He doesn't want to be in my crush, but he needs to be for his health and his well-being. So we continue to work and we tweak and move and manoeuvre the crush in various ways to try to keep him as calm as possible. I trimmed the back left foot really quickly so that I could move on with this back right foot. And as you can see, he has real problems. Firstly, I level up and balance that inner claw before moving on to this seriously out of shape outer claw. Believe it or not, this guy is not lame on this foot at all. It does not look good and he is probably pretty uncomfortable, but he is not in pain. But it's still my job to promote his levels of comfort and make sure going forward nothing untoward happens. Just like me, this foot is definitely not going to win any beauty contests anytime soon. It is, however, going to be much more comfortable for him. We're not going to take it too far because this is not a problem we can fix through trimming. The bone structure within the claw has deviated. There is a serious issue here, but as you can see, he is perfectly mobile and able to run away from us with absolute glee. That bull couldn't even walk before he went in the crush. And with that, we just have this one old Belgian blue left, and she just needs a bit of a tidy up. So we crack on with that job so that we can get tidied up, have a bit of a gossip, and get home to my beautiful wife and little boy. Guys, this has been the Hoof GP. Thank you very, very much for all of the love, support, wishes and comments that you guys give us. Catch you on the next one.